The film, created and directed by film critic and video blogger with 2 million subscribers Chris Stackman, opens with credits. 12 years ago, Riley Brannon, a blogger and creator of a popular internet show about paranormal ghost hunting, disappeared without a trace. In the last recording, she sits in a room and tells the camera that someone is watching her. Hearing noise and fear, the young woman opens the passage and goes out to check. This was the last time they saw her. The following is an excerpt from a documentary about the disappearance. From it is clear that Riley, along with a film crew of 3, went to the abandoned city of Shelby Oaks in Darke County, Ohio. When they stopped communicating, fans raised the alarm and a search began. Only an abandoned car was found. 12 years later, another film crew interviewed Riley's older sister, Mia, in the home where the sisters grew up. Mia says that her sister was talented since childhood. She loved music, drawing, and acting. She was also tormented by regularly recurring nightmares that appeared in the drawings. Riley's creative nature formed the basis of the show Paranormal Activity Paranoid, dedicated to the search for ghosts and other mysticism. According to fans, it was Riley's team that was able to capture evidence of supernatural phenomena in their records. But there were also those who considered paranoids to be banal scammers. The last episode of the show was filmed in the abandoned Darke County jail 3 weeks before the group disappeared. Near one of the cameras, Riley, who is a psychic, felt something that scared her. After that, she did not want to continue filming. After the release of this video, the paranoia disappeared. When fans and relatives raised the alarm, the police intervened. Thanks to a gas station surveillance camera, it was possible to determine that they had reached Shelby Oaks, a town that had been abandoned in recent years. It used to be full of life, but now it is surrounded only by creepy legends and ghost stories. After some time, the rescue service received a call. Someone found 3 bodies in an abandoned house on the outskirts of Shelby Oaks. The identities of victims have been established. It turned out to be a film crew of paranormal paranoids. Alas, Riley's fate remains unknown. Only the tape found with the bodies of the video cameras contained her last recording. Since then, fans have been tormented by the question of who kidnapped Riley Brannon. Also on the door was a message in blood, a mysterious sign, and the word Tarion. Thanks to working with film, the police managed to catch Riley's possible kidnapper, a white man 185 to 190 centimeters tall. Mia says her sister's nightmares as a child were similar. It seemed to her that someone was watching her from the window, despite the fact that she was on the 2nd floor. Relatives did not find any traces of the stranger, only a crack in the glass. The girl wakes up screaming until she is 13 years old, after which these dreams stop on their own. When she spoke about it, she had a lost look, just like she did on the recording, punctuated by static noise, distorting the last words. Mia is sure her sister said, "Mia, he's back." Mia then talks about her mother's habit of leaving marks on trees for her and her sister in the form of the paired initials RIM. The girls could use them to get home if they got lost. Noticing that the woman has become emotional, the documentary filmmakers suggest taking a break while the cameraman films the interior for editing. At this moment, a call comes into the portal. Mia reveals and differentiates a person. He reports that she finally let me go, to the horror of the documentarians and the landlady. During filming, we have to interrupt the removal of bodies from the morgue and the testimony of the police to call the police. At the same time, stunned by shock, Mia hides important information. In the dead man's second hand, she noticed a videotape with the inscription Shelby Oaks, which she hid in her sleeve. In the evening, when the police and documentarians left, and her husband Robert, who refused to participate in the filming, went to bed, the woman, without even washing off the blood of the strange guest, took out the tape. Entering her sister's former room, Mia discovers antediluvian equipment for viewing the recording. On it, Riley reads the text of the next edition of Paranormal Paranoia, straight from the deserted Shelby Oaks, captivating with industrial landscapes and border spaces. In the very first frames, Riley notices with alarm that something is wrong in the city and suggests returning. In the next scene, the team finds themselves in an abandoned amusement park, closed after a fire. According to Riley, her mother loved going here as a child. In the park, a woman leaves a secret message for her sister on a tree, her initials pointing the way. Later, the group stumbles upon a dwelling where they decide to rest. At the same time, they notice a lonely man outside, but when they go outside, they lose sight of him. That night, the team hears strange noises and notices lights in nearby houses. Frightened by such a strange phenomenon, the operator continues to film. As a result, the camera recorded how an unknown person attacks bloggers and brutally kills them. Raising the camera, the killer continues to shoot, keeping an eye on Riley's latest victim. During the shooting, he somehow leaves the room before attacking. After the theft, the attacker takes the camera. At this moment, his face is visible. It turns out that this is a visitor who shot himself during the day. When the TV turns off, Mia notices a silhouette outside the window in the reflection of the black mirror. Trembling in horror, she turns and watches the window glass crack. Just like Riley in kindergarten a long time ago, a woman runs outside with a club to catch the sinister warrior. There's no one there. Only the concerned husband came out to check what had happened. Mia shows Robert footage of her sister's kidnapping. However, the man is more concerned that his wife hid evidence from the police. During the day, they are visited by a detective who is looking for Riley. Cop says the man who shot himself, Wilson Miles, a former Dark County jail inmate, is from Shelby Oaks. After serving his sentence, he disappeared from police sight. When asked about Miles' involvement in Riley's disappearance, Mia hides the existence of the recording. She decides to take the investigation into her own hands. In the library, a woman is looking through materials about Miles. While serving his sentence, he survived a prison riot in which 18 people died. According to the prisoners, some evil spirit provoked them into chaos. While Googling the myths and legends of Dark County, Mia comes across the scar of the demon incubus, like dots, a symbol drawn in blood on the house where the corpses of the paranoids were found. Mia visits a former prison guard who reveals that Miles was a strange and quiet prisoner. It is allocated in cell 37, in the block where the most hazardous waste is stored. Due to an error in the security system, all the doors opened, but the prisoner did not even try to escape, but simply stood in the cell and looked out the window, not paying attention to what was happening around him. In the evening, while watching a new recording at home, Mia notices something strange. She discovers a creepy silhouette with horns in the background behind her sister, similar to the one her sister drew after her nightmares. But one day Mia saw it herself when she slept with Riley so as not to be afraid. A mysterious figure watched them from outside through a window that later broke. A woman tells her husband that she has discovered a certain pattern. Shelby Oaks begins to fall into disrepair, and residents begin to leave when Wilson Miles is born. Nightmares haunted Riley throughout his life, but stopped in 2002, immediately after Miles went to prison. When he is released 5 years later, the prison burns down in a fire, and Riley disappears without a trace. After listening to his wife, Robert comes to the conclusion that her flask plays poorly and leaves. But Mia doesn't give up. In her sister's things, she finds books on the occult, which contain the very symbol of Tarion. The book mentions old hellhounds and incubi, horned demons that hunt and pursue victims to produce offspring. Later, while leafing through Riley's album on the porch, the woman notices a black dog behind the fence with sparkling eyes, as if watching her. The beast disappeared as suddenly as it had appeared. Mia watches the re-release of A Paranoid Man in Prison, where her sister freezes in front of the cell, sensing that something is wrong. This is Wilson Miles' cell 37. The woman couldn't think of anything better than going to an abandoned establishment right in the middle of the night. After breaking a window, she breaks into the old building and heads to the right block next to the right room. Looking through a barred window, Mia discovers an amusement park Ferris wheel and a secret sign and occult symbol on her and her sister's walls. Suddenly it became very cold and burns came out of my mouth. Hearing the noise, the woman jumps out into the corridor. When the flashlight goes out, measured steps are heard in the darkness of the cell, but instead of a horned demon, a hellhound jumps out from the side. Then, like a groundbreaking horror story, a black hand emerges from the cell, forcing Mia to run as fast as she can and away. Returning to the car, Mia drives back, but at the fork she changes her mind and turns into Shelby Oaks, because night is the best time to search for occult cultists in a deserted town. Arriving at the park, Mia finds her sister's initials carved into a tree. Further wanderings through the grove, which has grown over several decades, lead her first to a dog hiding in the dark, and then to a house where the light is shining. What do we need? Yes, just light in the window, the woman rashly objected, approaching. The light of a flashlight picks out from the darkness branches stuck into the ground, connected in the shape of the same occult symbol. She is distracted from looking at the branches by a call from an elderly woman from the house, who invites a stranger to come in, pretending to be ordinary. Inside, Mia notices that the walls of the house are covered in black mold. Refusing the treat, she shows the hostess a photograph of her sister, who reports that she has never seen this girl. Norma says she lives here with her son, who is right behind her. Turning around, the guest sees a photograph of Wilson Miles, Norma's son. Then Mia changed her mind and said she wouldn't mind eating something. When a housewife goes to the kitchen for a treat, the woman writes a message to her husband asking him to call the police using her geolocation coordinates. She then heads to the second-floor entrance and comes across a photo album on the nightstands. Mia's list includes Wilson Miles and his kidnapped sister. They are captured during some kind of pagan wedding ceremony. As Mia looks through the photos further, she realizes that her sister was pregnant by her kidnapper. And more than once. Each time, there was a miscarriage. Miles buried his remains in the courtyard, placing symbols of Tarion instead of crosses. Along the way, Mia saw a makeshift cemetery. When Norma returns, she realizes there is no point in denying. When asked where heaven or mistress is, she moves the hidden carpet. Going down the stairs, Norma invites the guest to follow her. Mia carefully descends, discovering a long underground tunnel, at the end of which there is a cage with a locked woman who disappeared 12 years ago along with her sister. Mia opens the passage with a key hanging nearby to pick up her sister. She still hasn't coped with what's happening and is acting depressed. As Riley is escorted out, Norma stands in the tunnel, her eyes sparkling. Climbing the stairs, Mia notices a silhouette behind the hostess. She then locks the lid. Mia leads her sister to the exit, but she breaks free, grabs the poker, and runs up the stairs to the attic, right past the open hatch into the basement. Rising behind her, the woman sees a portal, behind which there is a pagan altar with a manger in the center. Norma cuts her hand, sacrificing her blood, and at the same time summons Tyrion's incubus. Riley attacks the old woman, but she stops her with telekinesis, lifting the air, and then throws the second sister away. Riley falls and loses consciousness. Mia crawls towards her as Norma completes the sacrifice and, exhausted from blood loss, falls to the floor. The old woman crawls to the wall and with her last breath marks another altar with blood, her sister's initials with pictures. In one of them, Mia finds herself with her husband, with whom she tried unsuccessfully to conceive a child for a long time. After confirming that Riley is alive, Mia approaches the crib. There lies a baby, stained with the blood of a cultist, her nephew. The police arrive and place Riley, who is discovered years later, in the hospital. When she is allowed to return to her home with the baby, documentarians arrive to film the happy ending. However, Riley doesn't want to talk to anyone. Leaving the baby in the room with her mother, Mia records the last interview and then goes to send the directors away. But the sister, pretending to be asleep, is just waiting for this. Taking advantage of the moment, she grabs a pillow to suffocate the child. The returning Mia tries to stop her, although Riley notes that it is a demon that must die. During the struggle, she falls through a broken window. Lying on the ground with broken bones, Riley sees the runners from hell begin to devour her. Mia watches this in horror from the window when Tarion appears behind her. The incubus places his hand on the woman's shoulder. Mia realizes that the demon is watching his childhood sister, who was about to give birth to offspring, and now he needs not Riley, but her, to raise the boy. Mia's eyes begin to glow, like the rest of the possessed ones. She screams in horror, and that's where the movie ends.